politics of win, a win kind of tactic that in order for me to sustain myself and my long stay in power, you need to be having people that have influence. And if you're to look at the recent appointment of Eddie Kenzo being also the president of, I think, the Musicians Association, it is in line with trying to break the core within the central region. That's Buganda. Trying to break the core support of the opposition within Buganda. Buganda currently is not at par with NRM. And if you to do your assessment, Eddie Kenzo...
we should say central region.
Yeah, central region, yes. And if you are to see Eddie Kenzo being someone that is from within the central region, he has that kind of, influence on some of the musicians, just like you have seen. And then also, for the fact that he has a big following, they also believe that anyone that falls along or anyone that is in line with the recent appointment, of course, is going to be extremely excited and they will want to side with government. That is just my view or my submission. I don't want anyone to own it.
So this is basically about mobilization.
Yes,
which
mobilization.
Makes it selfish. And the president is not doing this to benefit the nation, but rather...
In 2021 election, we saw the appointments of Kusasira, I think, and then I think Buchaman also came and claimed he was a presidential advisor or something. And now you know what they did towards mobilization within Syria. Now, the president that we have is one that reads the future. He knows that if I'm to play my cards, I play my cards for a long run, marathon. So he is set and put Eddie Kenzo not only as a presidential advisor on creatives, but then there is a role he's supposed to play.
And what is that role?
And the role is entirely mobilization. He knows that the person is currently going to face, that is if it is Chagulani. Chagulani has
a strong one of his kind.
Yeah, Chagulani has a strong grip. Chagulani has a strong grip on these ghetto musicians, and then most of them look at him as a role model, an idol. Now, you need someone that is equally in that, line. Eddie Kenzo made statements some time ago. And I think was quoted saying that some of us are not interested in politics. That is when Bobby Wine needed their support in 2021. So, it's like he has backstepped on that statement and is now, because the role of senior presidential advisor is entirely political. There's nothing like technical, or it's a political position.
But Mr. Tim, if that is the case, that the president is appointing these people to help in mobilizing support,
yes.
Well then, is it really the right thing to do? Because the president is supposed to serve us as a nation. When is he going to start serving us?
No, you see, we have also forgotten. You see, we have also forgotten the idea before doctor, because I am seeing doctor is breathing, who has to come in. Now we have also, we should not forget the fact that Uganda is using democracy as a point of reference for the international community. But this is authoritarian government, or rather leadership that we are into. The president has his ways in which he handles his affairs. He has a bunch of senior presidential advisors, some of which we even don't know. Because if we saw one...
Most of whom he doesn't.
Yeah, most of which he doesn't. Even. Yes, I think he doesn't know some of them. But a handful.
They are meant to advise him.
Yes, a handful. Then you also see the ones he has put on top, like the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, the former Vice President, Sekandi, and then Bukenya.
Even Bukenya.
And then we also have
the busiest, I think. Among all the current presidential advisors, is the busiest. I've seen his initiatives to save, to defend the environment.
Yeah, because if he's the doctor, he started, I think, in those dockets, but he has been so much into climate change and environmental conservations. But then also when you look at the breed of presidential advisors, they are those that earn way above 10 million and above. Those are the ones that have served in very high level positions, former prime ministers or vice presidents, now, and then special envoys. Now, these are the category that have to be appointed as a form of influence on the locals. So if the locals, if Kusasira has her following, since she's a musician and she's a senior presidential advisor, she has all those people possibly looking at her as a model. That if Kusasira has been in music and she has, entertained us, and today the president has appointed as a senior presidential advisor, logically anyone would want to follow her. But behind the scene, some of us that know what it is, it's just a short-lived thing. Today, are you hearing anything about Kusasira?
Nevertheless, she gets paid.
But I think she gets paid.
Nevertheless,
no, you only get paid.
She enjoys the privileges. She
yes, you only
as a presidential advisor.
That is true. You only get paid, but then you don't get an opportunity to.
And that is our concern. Don't personalize it. Our concern is we are spending a lot on them when they are not needed in the first place.
That is very true.
Why is the president doing this? Is he ceasing to be patriotic?
No, that is very true. There's a lot of expenditure possibly that is going on to this. And some of us, like just last week I was talking with one of my colleagues, is into security, and I was like, you see, it's going to reach a point where the expenses on wages and then salaries, possibly for these people that are being appointed, is going to overwhelm government. Because most of the money, the tax, revenues, or you collect the budgets are only streamlined on running and payments of people. Nothing constructive or developmental comes, on board. And I think if we were to touch the matter of Kitezi and so on, policy structures would indicate that there should be a certain level or number of people that should be at a certain specific place.
Okay.
Government also, I think, has earmarked 35 billion for public service recruitment. So all this is coming on. But I think the other thing is that, one, most of the people you see the president appointing is the one instead who gives them advice on what to do. You cannot sit with the president, and let me tell you, I have sat with him.
I've been wondering how
Catherine
Kusasira sits down the president to advise him.
Yes, I've sat with him once or twice, and he's a man who reads the environment. He's going to read, and before you even make a statement or say a word, he's already obstructed, or he already knows what you're going to say. That's the type of leader we have there.
He doesn't need advice.
For you to advise him, he will only call you, possibly because those technical people. Most of those that he wants and say, what do we do here? One or two statements, and he only gets 2 points, and the rest is for him to advise you. That's how it works.
This son of Kaguta, like he calls himself, I remember during COVID, when some people advised him that maybe you should, have people who can do PR for you. And he used to come on TV telling us, me, son of Kaguta, to need the PR, someone to speak for me. I have my own mouth. Dr. Tukundan, here we are expressing our concerns. Why the president is widening, expenditure that is even unnecessary. The other day, he's been talking about how we should minimize, spending. But he's the one who's expanding expenditure by appointing these people he doesn't need. He just told you. And he's not the first one to say that these people who are actually hired as presidential advisors, it's the president instead who advises them when he meets them.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation now, Tim.
Thank you.
And I want to start from where you stopped. When you look at the political environment, it's what gives you the go-ahead. So with the current appointment, for example, for me I call that politics, is beginning politics of 2026. He's not making the appointment to impress every Ugandan. In politics, you look at what is my gain at the end of the day. Of course, we always put the country at the forefront. But him as a president, he's now getting into politics of 2026. And what does he need? He needs a vote. He needs someone who can help him win the election. Of course, not the whole of Uganda, but when you look at the current appointment of Eddie Kenzo, he's a youth. When you look at the ministers that he has previously appointed, they are all in that category. The age bracket is, these are people in 30 to 45. These are the people Mzee is interested in. That is the youth. So his appointment of the current senior advisor is very strategic for the political environment that we are getting into in next year.
And also,
probably after that.
his competitors, looking at the kind of, competition he has.
Yeah.
The other one is a musician, so I should hire these people to neutralize him. Because previously, before Chagulanyi emerging, to where he is now, being one of those who are contesting for presidency, we never had a president looking for presidential advisors from, this kind of sector. That is the entertainment sector. It was after Chagulanyi emerging that he started, picking people from that side.
Yeah, you would look at it in that angle, because this is the person who is now on stage. If you look at what is going on in the other camps, this is someone who looks a little bit stronger. So how do you counter this person? How do you get these youth who are surrounding Chagulanyi? The only way to get them is to look for someone who can go and talk to this youth. Of course, he has appointed him in charge of creatives. When you talk of creatives, you're looking at musicians, you are looking at art crafts, whatever is
It's
there
broad.
that it's too big that he's going to mobilize. And it is true. Having, for me, not looking at...
and when you look at the demographics, the kind of people, the age, who are engaged in those are the youth. And also, according to Obo statistics, you realize that the biggest percentage of Ugandans are youth.
And don't be surprised that now that Mzee has Eddie Kenzo on his side and a few youth, they can easily disorganize the other camp. They can easily take it over because they have been colleagues. They know how you have moved to the level where you are. So Eddie Kenzo may not have been there, but he has direct contacts. He has people who sit in the boardroom with a principal. So it is easy to...
So with this appointment, then you should be worried? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
They should be worried because this is one of their own. As much as he has not been with them directly, but he's one of their own. If he says, I'm going the other side, and you cannot predict the president. Museveni, His Excellency, you cannot undermine him. If he gets someone from your camp, then he's seeing like 10 years ahead. He's not seeing at what is on today.
Well, he can do that because he's a politician, in 2026, like you said, but my concern, as a Ugandan, and who look at myself as non-partisan. Indeed, I'm non-partisan. I'm neutral. All I would want to see is the president, if he's hiring people, if he's making appointments, he's doing it for national interest. But if he's doing it then to benefit himself, to entrench in power, then that makes me question his...
You see, as much as he loves Uganda, but his interest comes first. He will tell you, yes,
staying here
Uganda
longer as
first.
president.
But literally, it is actually my stay in power first. If I can stay in power, then I can take care of Uganda. But not taking care of Uganda,
When
then
you're
I start thinking
worried.
about myself. So that is the logic people need to understand.
And that's how someone who's been in power for the last 38 years thinks.
It's not about the years. His
agenda.
He will tell you.
Because if you tell us that he's eyeing 10 years from now.
He has been voted to power. He's not forcing himself there. If you say no, you can prove it. He has been voted to power, and for 38 years, people are still saying, Mzee, you can go. So his thinking is not, it's not about the 38 years.
Because I was thinking, Doctor, that if you've been here for that long, you shouldn't even be wasting much resources and time into campaigning. What you have done speaks for itself, and people are going to decide based on that to decide on whether to vote for you or not.
The higher you go,
the quicker it becomes.
this time the tougher it becomes. Because the people you have been living with start moving out from you. So how do you...
And what does that imply?
How do you progress?
That you've not been a good leader. Because if you don't trust that for all the time I've been here, what I've done, is enough for people to look at it, decide, and then they give me another mandate. If you're not so sure about that, then it's high time you do some self-reflection and say like, oh, maybe it's high time I quit.
You see, there's nothing like I've done enough. Because if you look at, even in other countries, even in the US, if you look at the way, with the democracy that they have, if you see the way Biden was being pushed, he has worked for the country for so many years, but he was still insisting that even when I'm falling on the stairs, even when I'm losing track in the middle of a conversation, I still want to be the president. So you realize that there is nothing like enough. To him, he feels...
So it's not very typical African leaders.
He's still strong.
That's what you're saying.
Not African leaders. Biden is from the US.
I answer. You're saying that
Yeah.
it's not very typical of African leaders.
The president of Cameroon, is that Cameroon or?
Paul Biya.
Paul Biya. Just 2 days ago, declared that he's going to contest for, I think, the sixth term or so, and he's 91 years.
I know.
So you can see he still has that you know.
And we wouldn't want ours to walk that trajectory because, especially if he's the one who told us in 1986 what Africa's problem is. He already diagnosed Africa's problem. What is it again?
Would you trust the
Leaders who don't
trust,
want to leave power.
Would you trust the
He diagnosed that as Africa's problem.
That was a gorilla coming from the bush. But now
These two are
Hussein
different?
has become a politician. You know, politicians, you leave them here in a certain position. The following day, they will be opposing you. That is how politics behave. That's how you can only survive. They keep changing positions. So what he said that time, of course, he will defend it, that, you know, the issue is actually not that. As we move now, the issue is not people overstaying in power. The people are these imperialists who are coming in to disorganize us. So we need to organize internally.
Watching periods are mysterious because we've never seen any, and it kind of makes us think that maybe the president has always used that as a scapegoat. There are enemies that we never think that really exist. Like when you saw the other young people wanted to protest, in front of Parliament, and it was like these people are being used. Sijui there's some, the people you're calling imperialists who are, funding these activities. You're like, but come on, these are not young. These are not too young not to realize that this is a problem, and they also love the country. They should come. I mean, they have come out on their own to protest. But the president always uses that they have an enemy who's hiding behind them, who's funding them.
He uses it because he has.
He's just being paranoid.
He has been in power for some time, and probably by his experience, he sees another hand. We can't deny that.
Is he not being paranoid?
We can't deny that. When you saw what was on social media recently, when someone was asked to explain,
to account for some monies,
he blocked somebody. You know, these are the people who are leading us, who are saying the government should account, everyone should account. And from that time, people started wondering, really? Is this what we expect from these people? Because if you're just a volunteer who has offered to lead a revolution, then you should be accountable. If someone is asking accountability, why not do it? Why would you block to reach an extent of blocking somebody? And definitely us as Ugandans, we start wondering whether we will actually move on with such people. What if you put them in power?
No, I think let me also add in some information, just an insight on what Doctor is trying to phrase. You see, with imperialism, you don't need to see a physical enemy. They work in deceptive measurements. Now, if you're to go and read the book, like I've always referred to that book, The Confessions of the Economic...
Of an economic hitman.
An economic hitman.
By John Perkins.
Yes, and then you also go and get the by ways of deception. That is the former Israeli Mossad. Now, the way imperialists work, they only touch on very vital things. One of them key is human rights and democracy. The other one is playing with your economy using the power of the dollar. That is debts and taxation.
Wait, what do you mean by human
Policy.
rights? When these people
Now-
come to caution you on how you're violating human rights,
Now that is how imperialists play. They use human rights. But you go to their
Wait.
countries. No, I'm just trying to give you insights because I read that book to depth.
I know. I've
I
read it.
even took time to go and do proper research with with other things.
I've read it before, but
doing some
if
case
you also
studies.
read it well,
Now,
he told you these guys use
now
actually the first
let's use the case study of Kenya for human rights violation. The moment William Ruto went through as the elections, I mean, when he was declared, he came on strong with the dollarization, policy. Everywhere, every conference would step in, he would say, it is time for Africa to unite, Africa to stand together, and then stand on the individual currencies.
Until
We
he was
should begin
invited
buying
to
the
the US.
petrol with our own currencies, not the dollar.
until he was invited to the White House.
Now, when you invite you to the White House and
And it
the
changed.
guys are touching you and sit on that, special chair, it is a very big one. And the big man here cautioned him to be extremely careful. He plays his politics in a very cunning way. One, he deals with Russia, he's dealing with China, he's dealing with some of the European, countries. Then he also has the Arab world closer to him, because he learned from the mistakes of the late Muammar Gaddafi. Now, when William Ruto came back here, how the money for facilitating the Gen Z's, protests came through the country doesn't know. But it was through the embassy.
The US?
The embassy of US. You don't know how classified,
Are you sure about that?
You don't know how classified information comes in through our embassies here. And most of them have the seal. Most when those documents are coming through the airport and so on with a seal, you cannot
You're
open.
making a huge allegation.
I am not making.
that the US is behind the
I am not
protest
making huge allegations, but I am a person that reads, and I do a lot of research.
And you're very
The
biased.
things I'm not biased. Now,
Because you're talking about a nation
Because
that is supporting very
as-
good initiatives in this country.
no.
Look at the
you see,
health
I am
initiatives.
not
These are
rebranding
guys who are
them.
behind
I am
it.
not rebranding them, but they support some of the organizations. The biggest support from some of these organizations comes from them. And me, I'm only giving you information here. It's valid information. It's on paper.
Let's just take
now,
a break.
No, before we take the break,
Yeah.
we have human rights democracy. We have the dollar, the power of the dollar, on how IMF and World Bank plays with people here. The more you have my debt, the more I benefit. So I can dictate you through the fluctuations of the dollar. We have war. We have war, and then now the war has turned into what they call the biological weapons. I bring a pathogen here, and then I deal with you rightly. You have to buy vaccines by force. You want money for me to give you money, you have to buy vaccines. You have to buy weapons from here. Look at what is happening to Burkina Faso, Russia. So that is how these people operate. Imperialists are invisible.
Let's just take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue discussing national issues.
Thank
so
you.
we can come up with solutions. I mean, we know when we talk about these things, at least those who are concerned do pick a leaf. This is our country. It's our responsibility to talk about these things we feel are not, being handled well. Don't go away. The dialogue continues shortly.
Discover your voice at WOMCAT School of Journalism and Mass Communication. We are now accepting applications for our August intake. Join us to gain hands-on experience from industry experts and build a career in media through our dynamic diploma, certificate, and short courses. Acquire cutting-edge journalism skills on the over 28 years of training future industry leaders. Start your journey with us today. WOMCAT, where professionalism meets development.
uriyunga okukekasa eddoboozi lyo weetaaga okutumbula ekitundu eky'omukuyimba kano kekasiireko BTM TV akuletedde Raise Your Mic yimba ate ensonga za kuyimbira ku live band ngate abawanguzi bakwewangulya ebirabo eby'enjawulo okuli obukadde bw'ensimbi 5 pikipiki kapyata okulikodinga nyimba mu audio ne vidiyo n'ebirabo ebirala bingi okwetaba mu Raise Your Mic genda ku simu yo nyiga *247*407# olondeko option ya Raise Your Mic olondeko option ya participate osindike message butereevu ojja kuba weetabe mu auditions wano ku BTM TV abaana babayiseemu ku mutendera oguddako bakulondebwa abalabi bafe aba BTM era beewangulira ebirabo biwugiddwa Simba Automotives ne bikutuusibwako BTM TV.
Discover delicacy at Cafe 2, your all-in-one destination. Whether it's the perfect cup of coffee or a satisfying meal, we got you covered. Indulge your cravings with our mouth-watering pilau, savory katogo, crispy chips, and tender chicken. Explore a world of cocktails and fresh juices for a truly special treat. Planning an event? Choose Cafe 2 for top-notch outside catering services. Benefit from ample parking, stay connected with Wi-Fi, and catch your favorite matches on DSTV. Cafe 2 offers food deliveries in and around Kampala. Hosting a conference, our center accommodates up to 1,000 people. Need a boardroom for a party or corporate meeting? We've got just the spot for you. We offer a free venue for birthdays and baby showers, providing complimentary photography. For those aspiring to become professional baristas, our barista school awaits you. Visit us at Albany Center, Level 2 on Ginger Road. Cafe 2, where every occasion becomes a memorable experience.
Are you looking for the perfect cake to sweeten up your special occasion? Look no further than Cake Oasis. At Cake Oasis, we specialize in creating exquisite cakes for all types of events. Whether it's a birthday celebration, a wedding, an introduction, baby shower, or any other special occasion. Our cakes come in a variety of trendy designs that will add a touch of elegance to your function. And the best part, our cakes are not only beautifully crafted, but also affordable. Contact us today on 0743 060 510 or 0762 572 464 to order your dream cake and make your event truly unforgettable. Cake Oasis, love at first bite.
Don't miss on BTM.
Get ready for an extraordinary journey of faith and valor as BTM TV presents Omusirikale Alokokatya. It's time to witness the remarkable convergence of duty and devotion. Join us every week as we sit down with real-life heroes, men and women who have not only dedicated their lives to ensuring our safety, but have also found a deeper purpose on their journey to Christianity.
The foundation of this country, we hand it over to you, Father. 20.
Witness the miracles that unfold in their daily service. These are just not stories of duty. These are tales of redemption. Don't miss the chance to be inspired, uplifted on BTM TV as we bring you 30 minutes of faith and courage. Every hero has a story, and every story deserves to be heard. Only on BTM TV.
Sit back and relax with BTM. We transform.
So much for staying with us. You're still watching The Dialogue. My name is Idrissa Muwonge. Here with my panelists, Dr. Benson Tukundane and Mr. Otim Levi Ako Napesa. And we are deliberating on these issues that have happened, especially this particular week. Gentlemen, I want now to pick your thoughts on the Katonga FDC-based faction, which made a resolution to come up with a new political party to dissolve the FDC. And the question I have in mind of like, how easy is it going to be? How easy is the state, the government of Mr. Otim going to make it? To have, a new opposition emerging, where there is Besigye, Lukwago, and the likes. Is the Electoral Commission going to make it easy? Or is it going to, to create hurdles for them, like it did with the NUP? I should start with you, Tim.
Thank you. You see, the issue of Katonga and FDC is not something that started today or just recently, but started during the times when General Mugisha Muntu broke off and cited that he was being accused or labeled as someone that was rather a leech. A leech is like something that is there, but he's only benefiting himself. When they say that there are moles in FDC and we should do away with them. So one function went and sided with Mugisha Muntu, and then the other decided to go with KB, that is Dr. Kiza Besigye. Now when Mugisha Muntu broke off, when we went with Ant, he also accused them of being moles. That you see, we share information here, but you find it in the corridors of State House. Who's leaking information? So from that on, there's been a rift because of the disloyalty and then, distrust within themselves. And then also, recently when issues came about that, the current president, Power, and the Secretary General were picking some sacks from our White House at night and delivering. Because even KB himself, being an elder and then someone that should have been offering guidance from behind the scenes, because he's the one who came out openly and said, I am not at par with what is happening. I have been a leader for long, so I stepped down. Let FDC elect another president. It was a welcoming idea. Everybody saw it as something, full of wisdom. You see, you're within the internal party politics. You are relinquishing, or rather handing over leadership to another, hand. That's why you're seeing that even during the time when Patrick Amriat contested in Teso, there are areas where he knocked. There was a block vote. Soroti, and then I think also Kumi district, he gave Amriat some votes and so on. So, and then also some other parts. But the one thing I want us to do, or rather look into, is the current conflict. And the current conflict came from the picture of, from within that very leadership, the one that is from the Katonga. I think they had got another name during the election.
Otima, I think we've discussed the separation of these people.
Yes.
But I now want to focus on the resolution I've made to dissolve the FDC. And then embark on forming a new political party.
The resolution doesn't count.
Because this has turned to a blame game. Now you're here blaming some.
No, the constitution that you say.
The spokesperson.
I'm only giving the public a view of what they're encountering, because some of them have a different picture of what is happening outside there. So you see, this internal.
This blame game will never cease.
As
long as they continue to faction.
In everything,
we continue to blame the other ones, and the other ones will continue to blame.
In everything we do, there's always a blame game. But the internal party conflicts, that's where I'm deriving my point from. For the other Katonga function to come and say that they're dissolving FDC, they're dissolving FDC as who?
Yes.
Because you see, when Nandala Mafabi and then Power, as founder members, yes, when Nandala Mafabi and Power came about, they said, we are the ones who sat as the first committee and drafted and minuted this. We appended our signatures as the founding members. That time Dr. Kiza Besigye was in SA, and he had just flown in. They had wanted a face that would attract the population to know that we as FDC are coming in 2006. That's it. By the time Besige came, he was the face of FDC. But behind the scene, there are people who are saying that this belongs to us, the constitution. The Nandola Mafabi came out openly and said, you want to dissolve FDC. As who? The constitution is here. FDC had party elections. We elected the new leadership. There's nothing you can say.
In that constitution, there's a provision that provides for dissolving.
Yeah, if you're providing for dissolving the party, then there should be line reasons as to why. And that's what the party president and Nandola Mafabi came out and said as Secretary General, that this will not happen because we don't have valid reasons for dissolving FDC. Those ones who have decided to break off, let them break off and form a new party. Simple as that.
What would you like you to see? Because these guys are like 6 months from now, and that is February.
Let me tell you.
So they're going to.
There is nothing. There is nothing that is as sweet as such a message in the ears of the president. A divided front, to me,
that's where I wanted you to
is structured. No, I'm not guessing, but I'm giving you facts.
No, that's where I wanted you to get. Now, how the president reacts to all this.
The president,
after all that, also accuse him of being the mastermind.
But he's playing.
It's not even an accusation because he said it himself.
But he's using the principles.
He was working on having all these political parties.
Yes, but he's using the principles of the art of war in doing this, dismantling these factors. First of all, I'm going to break FDC and make it, clear to the ground. Right now, FDC has no ground. It's divided into 3. And then the mother FDC itself, and then the Katonga function. It's broken. Now, how am I going to break NUP? NUP, I'm only going to get vital, influential figures and also put it on ground. The only support NUP has here is on the central. So if I neutralize central, then it will fail to spread to the other parts of the region. And I remain a solid factor. That's what he's doing. In parliament, is there anyone who can say anything? Nobody can say a word in parliament because there it's already a neutralized ground.
Dr. Benson, this resolution by the FDC in Katonga to form a new political party, I mean, discuss this broadly.
Looking at currently what we call the Katonga faction, the first point is actually to ask I don't know by what law was that faction established. Is it the headquarters of FDC? Is it the leadership of FDC that we're having at Katonga? Are those the registered offices? And probably after answering that, where the answer would be Katonga was as a result of, we are having wrangles, we are having issues within our house. And me as a husband was someone in the house. I choose to go and go in a muzigo, kazigo.
That's not how it began.
That's
to give you some information, even during Harmony times, Katonga was there, as FDC was there. That's why even the president
Katonga was
would
used.
Even appear during press conferences that would be organized.
We know that FDC headquarters are where? In Najanankumbi. Katonga is Vesige's office. That is his office. And as someone,
the office of the people's president.
As someone who has been, he's not the people's president. Who elected him?
That's how they've been called. They even formed the people's government. You don't remember that? That's what became popular.
Those are slogans, actually.
When you look at what is currently happening in the FDC, it is drama. It's like acting. They know where they belong. They know where their house is. So, coming up and you say, we are making a resolution that we ban our house. Do you have, by which law, by which constitution that you have to ban that house? So, me I see, when you look at what is currently going on, the problem is the problem of transition. When you look at the people leading this way of dissolving the party, you look at someone who was in NRM, Chiza Besige. He was in the NRM. He formed the reform agenda.
Almost everybody has not been in
It evolved.
At some
Lukwago
point.
has also come from
At some
somewhere.
point.
So why do they keep moving? You're not satisfied in the NRM. You come to the FDC, which you have formed as your own. When people want to come and work, you still want to be on top, and you're fighting the dictator. You still want to be the president.
Wait, you want to blame this on Besigye?
When you...
Yes, but
Doctor, you're blaming this on Besigye?
I'm blaming it on him. He's the one who establishing the Katonga faction. You are calling him the people's president. So
No, he took an oath.
You have Besigye.
You don't remember that he took an oath as president of this country?
have-
And even formed
You
the
see-
that
people's...
is treason. You remember what happened to
Oh,
him?
he dared you to take him to court and you never did.
You know, let's say...
He
that's what I'm
dared
telling
you to sue him, you never sued him.
That's why I'm calling it drama. People are acting. You have someone like Lukwago who doesn't have a home. He keeps moving, and wherever he goes, it's a fight. Then at the end of the day, of course, he knows the law. Then he tries now to convince people that let's dissolve this party. Now, why don't you leave these people to go ahead? If you really feel you are a stronger party, form your own party. When you look at a country like USA, we have Trump. Trump is having a lot of disagreements with his party members. But no one has come up and said, Trump, we need to dissolve this party. Because this party should be grown. It's a baby that you're growing. FDC is a party which was on top.
You mean the Republic?
So, yes.
The party
So
that has lived for centuries,
should-
you dissolve it.
That's what I'm saying.
Just giving an example.
That's how it has been able to grow. Because when you start a party, this is a baby. You have NRM and you have a baby that you're growing with the FDC. It had reached somewhere. So instead of growing it, you now want to put it down. Now, is it about FDC?
But these people have reached a point
these are
and they have
Uganda's-
separated, they can no longer reconcile. You can't tell.
When you don't reconcile, you go and form your own. If we can't get married, if you know we can't sleep in the same bed,
That is
go and marry.
selfish. That is
Go and
selfish. You divorce and you
go and
remarry.
have your own marriage somewhere. But not saying we must do what? We must dissolve even where you are.
One should die.
So, for me, we are thinking about our individual interests. But let's think about Uganda. Uganda is now multi-party. We are getting into multi-party politics. And if we are to actually benefit from them, this is the starting point where we should be supporting these parties to grow. But you cannot come up. Someone like Besigye, someone like Lukwago, these are senior politicians. We expect them to be looking at Uganda. But what they are looking at is, where do I gain from?
Well, I've heard you blame Besigye for this separation, for these rifts in the party. But you're forgetting what our team also touched on, what I began. That the leader of this country one time vowed to crush all these political organizations. In other words, there is an invisible hand, and you're trying not to blame it. Why don't you blame that invisible hand that is disorganizing every party? You just mentioned, Doctor, that we're in a multi-party dispensation. And it is a constitutional right to have political organizations. But there is one person who has vowed to crush all this, to destabilize all these political
You
organizations.
see, this is politics. They keep, he may have said it, and that is part of it. That's part of the game.
And he's doing it.
There's nothing wrong with
And he's
doing
succeeding at it.
But you, who is saying we are building a party, what are you doing?
Why do you heed to his pressure?
You are fighting internally. Then you want to blame President Museveni. Who fought Muntu? We were seeing Muntu was saying the truth. He was like, things are not going the right way. People are trying to, protect themselves. You know how he speaks. And finally they said, you are reporting to the president.
You're
You're a mole. But we need to ask now, where is the mole? Because he moved away. He has formed his own party. He didn't go for dissolving it. He formed his own party. Now, you people have said you still want to choose Mr. Museveni.
Yeah, because he came out and said it himself, I'm going to disorganize them.
Yes,
When he was speaking in Runyoro not so long ago, he even said it to in Runyoro. HH group you remember that thing that went viral? So someone who's like, and he was like, me, I just move underground. So why shouldn't we blame him for this?
See, as a leader, that is the position. If you're leading a party like FDC, this is a party that shouldn't be dying. If you care about Uganda, we have the NRM, which has now grown into a bigger party. We had FDC, which we thought would also be a party that can grow. Now, when these two parties mature to some level, it helps Uganda. Not even individuals like BCG. It helps Uganda. But the moment you start saying, we kill this party and start a new one, then you are for what? You are for yourself, not for
When you
Uganda.
go back to the glory days of the FDC, these guys are convinced to have won an election twice, and you cheated them. That is the NRM cheated them. You must have heard them say.
That is an allegation. If you go to court, they
Defend
declare
yourself.
it's not about saying it was cheated. They went to court,
Where is
they
the
lost.
evidence?
Don't you remember?
So where are they
the-
basing
The
You
court
see,
ruling
you see,
on that presidential
you see,
petition,
you see.
the recommendations that were made by, was it Mr. Kanyehamba?
You see,
they admitted and did some wrongdoing.
Bwana Idrissa, we don't want to be biased or basic when we are trying to handle this. Because you see, when you are in a fight, or rather in a boxing ring, I am fighting a doctor, and I happen to lose the match. Then I say, doctor cheated because he boxed my eye. But that's part of the game. You were there, you knew very well that you were there, and anything that will happen. If my eye is boxed and is against the rules, why didn't the technical people? You're not going to blame anyone.
So let's talk about the current government. Yes.
No, this applies.
Is it, first of all, is it, as you make your submission, is the ruling government, the NRM to say, are they happy about what is happening now, or they are also going to make it hard for the Katonga faction, to succeed at forming a new political party? How is it likely to be? What is it that Mr. Museveni would want?
Multi-party dispensation, or as I know, multi-party politics is a dynamical thing. And when you are to look at it in a broader way, one, every party system has key players, have invisible hands in trying to dismantle their functions, because it's like going to a battlefield. Where are your strengths? If your strength is at the front line, I have to look for a way of coming from the back to destroy you, because you'll be paying attention to me from the front. Now, when you are getting into politics, you should have all these concepts. The problem that we have with Ugandan politics, or political parties, is greed.
Greed.
And
which cuts across.
DP will come out and say we have a memorandum with NRM.
That includes
UPC will come out and say we have a memorandum with NRM.
That includes the leading party,
branches.
the ruling party, right?
No, but if the ruling party is taking advantage of these other ones, then they are doing it to their own.
If you talk about greed, then we should start with the ruling party.
No, but you see, you cannot blame the ruling party. That's I told you that there is greed within.
Look at how their chairman disorganizes the harmony of other opposition political parties.
Yes, if we had proper streamlined policies that are governing electoral polls, or other multi-party politics, or other the parties, you would be seeing politics being played like you are seeing in Europe, in the USA, the Democrats and then the Republicans. Those are the only two, plus the independents. Now, they give you room. Look at Kenya. Kenya, anyone can wake up tomorrow and say, I am forming a party. A Konopesa party, I have formed. And it's going to run. But you have to know that, one, the people that you are recruiting can either be a single, edged sword or double-edged sword that is going to slice you. People have price tags. I brought Idrissa into my political party. NRM comes and says that, Bwana Idrissa, you have a very good role here. And we have seen you have a very big potential. And if you are to accept to be part of us, there's a blank check here. And then also we shall give you possibly cabinet secretary or minister of state for this. It is now for you to decide what is your conscience, what is your self discipline. What is it telling you? Are you just going to sell the identity that you have built for the public or for those that believe in you? Are you going to sell? That is what is happening in Uganda. That someone has woken up, he's become a very formidable factor in the opposition, and is only putting government on check. That is mandated within multi-party system. Government always has to be put on check. If they are misfiring from this, there should be people who should direct them and say, people, focus your eyes here. That's what happens. Now, if you accept to be lured into the other manipulators, it is up to you. You lose the game. That is what is happening in
that times you're left with no choice.
Now, FDC, that was one of the most formidable parties here. At one point, even had a very big number of.
At one point, they won the election.
Yes, if they had won the election, then they would be possibly now under FDC government.
They were cheated. That's what they said.
But if they were cheated, then it was their own making. I'm playing chess with you, and I've checked you. You see that they have made 1 or 2 moves that were wrong. Why not withdraw or pull out of the election?
So, gentlemen,
you play this game.
Let me come to Doctor now. I think we all want to
see. Before Doctor comes, when those of Odongoto and Gengo Latigo were in parliament, Odongoto at one point stood up in parliament and said, there are people here who are pretending that they are the front line of democracy and fronting for a common agenda, or rather, change of government. But at night, they are the ones who drive their SUVs to the White House here to pick the monies. So what is that? You are selling yourself, or you are selling your ideology for others to benefit.
Speak objective, Doctor, as people who love our country. I thought that multi-party democracy would be good for a nation, where everybody comes on board, come with ideas. But without, one party, especially the one in power, coming out to suppress those that are opposing it. I've seen the NRM buy ideas from the opposition. This
through iPod.
Not necessarily through iPod, even before the coming of iPod. I've seen you being copycats of the FDC manifesto. When Dr. Kisebese came in 2001, it was his idea to have this graduated tax, removed, and he adopted that. So I've seen, you being copycats of the manifestos of opposition. So I would think that multi-party politics would be good for the country. But if we have those who are in power, the party that is in power, trying to suppress the opposition, then that's not healthy. That's not good for the country.
When you look at the way you are putting it, it may appear there is no multi-party politics in Uganda. But we have multi-party politics where the current party, NRM, is the one leading.
But it wants to exist solely. It doesn't want to exist with others. And I just gave you a background where its leader said, I want to finish off all these.
You see.
So it means it does. And also, if you remember, Doctor, when we are moving into multi-party dispensation, the spirit in which he let off political parties to start functioning, it was not a good spirit. It was like, okay, I have no choice. Let them,
No,
be.
I think that's where we are getting it wrong. As opposition or other parties who are supposed to advise government, we are supposed to strengthen our parties. Even when you know that the enemy is there, you don't say, anyway, the enemy has said he's going to finish me. Then you start killing yourself. Killing yourself. You starve yourself. If possible, you'd rather go and behind.
Left this kid itself?
It's killing itself.
You remember the genesis of this problem? The genesis of this problem was money. Which money was allegedly have been carried from the State House.
The issue is not even
you
money.
Can't say the kid himself.
The issue is not even money, because we need to have the evidence of the monies. Where was the money coming in from? And
the state.
Money is the origin of all this evil that you're talking about. The people you're saying that money, who are claiming that someone ate money, what are they doing to make sure that the party stays? What have they done as the objective leaders of the party? You have people whom you have supported. For example, you supported Amuriat. You know how much Mugisha was owed when he wanted to become president. Everyone saw that. Besigye said, I'm moving with power. And he has brought him on the table. Now, the challenge here is that you want to control this person you have given power at the cost of the party. Then, when that happens, you start saying, the issue is the president, the issue is Mr. Museveni, the issue is you who are in the party. If someone intimidates you, does it mean they have beaten you?
No.
You do your part, you fight until you take over. So for me, I see a weaker opposition in Uganda, which is not even going to help us as a country if they are still having these infights.
So I see how hard you're trying to defend the president that is not the one behind disorganizing these political parties. But
Actually,
this is the man who said it himself.
One thing you
Actually,
should be worried
doctor, I don't
about.
know,
Just the last one.
doctor, you tell Bwana Idris as that the strongest political party or the strongest opposition we have right now should be this Agora on this social media
That
or
is
X.
it. That is it.
That's the strongest opposition we have right now.
One thing you should worry about Uganda is that we have been worried about how are we going to transit if Museveni is not there.
And we are going to
We
pick
are
it
now
exactly
seeing-
from there. Doctor, hold it, because that's where the discussion was now headed. That's my
Okay.
concern. We're going to pick it exactly from there after this break. Don't go away. The dialogue continues shortly.
Discover delicacy at Cafe Atu, your all-in-one destination. Whether it's the perfect cup of coffee or a satisfying meal, we got you covered. Indulge your cravings with our mouth-watering pilau, savoury katogo, crispy chips, and tender chicken. Explore a world of cocktails and fresh juices for a truly special treat. Planning an event? Choose Cafe Atu for top-notch outside catering services. Benefit from ample parking. Stay connected with Wi-Fi and catch your favorite matches on DSTV. Cafe Atu offers food deliveries in and around Kampala. Hosting a conference, our center accommodates up to 1,000 people. Need a boardroom for a party or corporate meeting? We've got just the spot for you. We offer a free venue for birthdays and baby showers, providing complimentary photography. For those aspiring to become professional baristas, our barista school awaits you. Visit us at Albany Center, Level 2 on Ginger Road. Cafe Atu, where every occasion becomes a memorable experience.
Discover your voice at Womcat School of Journalism and Mass Communication. We are now accepting applications for our August intake. Join us to gain hands-on experience from industry experts and build a career in media through our dynamic diploma, certificate, and short courses. Acquire cutting-edge journalism skills on over 28 years of training future industry leaders. Start your journey with us today. UMCAT, where professionalism meets development.
Don't miss on BTM.
Get ready for an extraordinary journey of faith and valor as BTM TV presents Omusirikale Alukokatya. It's time to witness the remarkable convergence of duty and devotion. Join us every week as we sit down with real-life heroes, men and women who have not only dedicated their lives to ensuring our safety, but have also found a deeper purpose on their journey to Christianity.
The foundation of this country, we hand it over to you, Father. Bring it.
Witness the miracles that unfold in their daily service. These are just not stories of duty. These are tales of redemption. Don't miss the chance to be inspired, uplifted on BTM TV as we bring you 30 minutes of faith and courage. Every hero has a story, and every story deserves to be heard. Only on BTM TV.
Sit back and relax with BTM. We transform.
Are you looking for the perfect cake to sweeten up your special occasion? Look no further than Cake Oasis. At Cake Oasis, we specialize in creating exquisite cakes for all types of events. Whether it's a birthday celebration, a wedding, an introduction, baby shower, or any other special occasion. Our cakes come in a variety of trendy designs that will add a touch of elegance to your function. And the best part, our cakes are not only beautifully crafted but also affordable. Contact us today on 0743 060 510 or 0762 572 464 to order your dream cake and make your event truly unforgettable. Cake Oasis, love at first bite.
So much for staying with us. You're still watching The Dialogue. My name is Idrissa Mwonge. We are based here along Kampala Road on Toban Center building. Well, Tim Levia Konapesa is one of my panelists here next to me, and the extreme end is Dr. Tokundane Benson. Doctor, before we took a break, you had touched exactly where my concern emanates from. Does President Museveni think about his aftermath? This is what I always say, and I stand to be guided. You see, we're at a point where even the president doesn't know where this country is headed. Yes. Because the constitution which was guiding that, look, you look for 2 terms, you step aside, another one comes in, that changed. The same constitution which had stated that you don't go beyond 75 is the same man who changed that. So we are there and we are wondering where are we headed as a country. We should be concerned about the aftermath of President Museveni. If anybody can sit alone and do some self-reflection and look at this country critically, that's something they should be concerned about. President Museveni is not immortal. He will go, just like I will go, just like other people have departed. But what is going to happen? The constitution itself is now, it's a deserted thing. It's just there and it doesn't guide in any way. Other than saying that, okay, in the absence of the president, the vice president takes over. But in the context of Uganda, do you see that happening? We are discussing the aftermath of President Museveni.
When you look at what is currently going on and what Uganda is, we have different political players. We have the NRM, which is the ruling government, and it is led by His Excellency, President Museveni. Now, as a president and as a party, they have a future. They see a future for Uganda.
They have a future.
Yes, they have a future.
And I'm asking you Uganda's future.
And they look at taking Uganda to the next level. Now, what should be worrying us as Ugandans is that we've not had a point where we've seen a peaceful transition from one person to the other. We've only seen from President Museveni to President Museveni. Now, where is our hope? Our hope will either be within the NRM, if they can reorganize and get someone.
You hope to see transition?
I mean, we live on faith. We have to believe that.
Let me bring you to speed. The NRM, the one which sits, the secretariat which sits along, which one is that? Chadon. They made a resolution to have President Museveni as their candidate. You know, until when maybe himself he gets that, which I don't see happening. So I'm trying to quash your hopes of seeing a transition within the NRM. That's what's happening.
You see,
who's going to dare to stand contest for?
You yourself, you said Museveni is not. I mean, at some point, he will not be there. That is a fact. It's natural. So, you mean when President Museveni is not there, Uganda is going to collapse?
So you're talking about when he's no longer in the picture. That's when you're going to see the transition. When he's no longer in the picture.
You are trying to trash my hopes. But I'm also trying to tell you that the current government has a system. There's even a constitution on how power can be moved from one person to the other. It's not that we are running like a...
No, I already say that the
market.
Constitution says that in the absence of the president, the vice president takes over. But gentlemen, realistically speaking, do you see that happening in Uganda?
We see that happening.
Museveni out and Jessica Lupo.
We see that happening, and as I've told you, I mean, we live on faith. There's nothing like, it is obvious. You must believe first, then you see what you want. So, I see the biggest challenge that we should be worried about is, if you want to change the party, probably it is going to be difficult for you. Because the current opposition parties are there, but they are not there. They are not doing a good job.
Self-sustainable.
They are not building the parties to take over power. So most likely, we may see another NRM cadre coming to power. Whichever door they use, I don't want to say, but whichever way they use, we are most likely going to see someone from within the NRM to come and take over this country to the promised land. Yeah.
Mr. Tim.
Yes.
That's my concern when you see me asking these questions. The aftermath of president. And by the way, remember the founder of ANT, General Monto, also has ever hinted at that. He was like, my fellow opposition members, we shouldn't be focusing on removing Museveni, just that. But the aftermath of Museveni. Doctor just told you, you've never seen a peaceful transition, in this country, from one president to another. We are hoping that President Museveni was going to give us that gift. And by the look of things, you just used the word greed. It's not me, you used it. And this cuts across, I think it goes back to him as well. Because the man who doesn't want to leave power after this long, how do you describe him? Now, how is Uganda going to be? When, say, is incapacitated?
Thank you very much. You see, issues of politics, let me put it this way. Internal party politics has tried to play a great role to some extent. I have to give it credit. But then also on the other side, just like Doctor stated, we have had scenarios where these parties or other political parties have turned from being great or other, great capacity builders, trying to empower the young generations into becoming generational leaders, into being self-sustainable or self-sustaining, initiatives or entities. Something that derives and, first sustain those that have been at the, at the top, or the top management, to be able to amass wealth, because they feel that they're entitled, they have that self-entitlement, and then it should be used first to make yourself rich and of great influence. We have seen them used.
I expected when you're submitting.
Hold on. I'm coming. I am coming.
I should have added this.
I am coming to where you want me to go to.
Mr.
Yes.
I should have added this. I thought in your submission, being a clever man, I know you are. When I put this question to you, I thought you'd make a submission, trying to bring in the latest tweet from the first son.
That's what I told you that
in other words, the disunity within the first family.
I am going to talk about
one person who some people, a certain section of Ugandans are saying that is the standby generator. He's engaged in a fight, with a brother-in-law. In other words, this is a first family not united. And
internal party politics brings in that picture, and that's where I was going to go to. Now, like I was saying, that you see, political parties in Uganda still have a very long, way, in a way they are trying to come up and then play politics of development, growth, not sustainability that should be there. We have had political parties like Action Party, that was the president is now the current ambassador, I think in Nigeria also. His Excellency Nelson Ochegero come. He played his part, and then, of course, it was very strong, and eventually it has died. It's no longer in the picture. Now, if you were to do comparative analysis That's what I like doing, so that everybody understands where we are going. If you're to look at parties that have been dominant, like KANU, for Arap Moi, let's use an example of Kenya. Very strong for 27 years, sustainable, very strong. Africa-wise, KANU was known. Where is it right now? It's a party for one person or two. When you look at Jubilee, that came after, Jubilee also, had its own, time, and but because of that division with the Kwanzaa, you have seen where it has dropped. Kenya Kwanzaa, you have seen where it has dropped. Today, Jubilee is basically even hard, and it is just a party that is within, the political space or environment of Kenya. Now that falls back to Uganda. We have had parties. We have had DP. We have had UPC that were very formidable, and Obote, and we felt that after Obote's downfall, UPC would have continued being a very formidable party. We have seen the game, and we have seen what it has tried to do in northern Uganda. Up to now, it is still sustainable and runs. You have seen FDC, which has been divided into three. And I think they even form another fourth one. If in case Lukwago again disagrees with his, with his godfather, Lukwago might also decide to form another party of his own. That is how possible it can be. Now, when you look at NRM, what is going to tear NRM and the legacy it has built is the current internal party politics that is being, played. One has come in as a civic organization, and then before you know, it's going to transition into a political party. Now, it is torn because the PLU that we're speaking about consists of a young generation within NRM. And when you're to do your assessment, you're going to say that most of the youth or the young people that are part of PLU have an affiliation to NRM, which is the mother. Now, NRM is a party that is known for having those, elderly people. Those Bazay, like in a village meeting, you go and you find Bazay sitting on a stool, and then the children, they say, you, for you are young, you don't know what you do, you cannot sit here with us. You go, we're drinking here, pombe. You go the other side there and you say, play their football there. That is what is happening. Now, when you see the resistance from some of these young leaders that have taken over PLU, you're seeing there's a friction with the NRM. And then also there's another arm of NRM that is ONC, that is directly monitored and supervised by the president himself. That one, if you are to read what is happening,
and has been engaged in exchanges with the PLU.
Now it has also been engaged in exchanges with the mother NRM. There is a conflict between these top shots who are governing or running, the NRM party. Now, you see, for you to be able to sustain
the secretariat.
Yeah, the secretariat.
Yes, they have not been at par.
They've not been at par. Now, when PLU is bringing fire, and then ONC is also bringing his own fire, NRM equally is bringing the bombs in the middle. What do you expect? You expect us, who should be following the organization that you have set, to begin doubting what is going to happen. Now, there's a bunch of disgruntled people who don't know. They have done so much for NRM as a party, but they don't know where they're falling. Now, that is what we're getting into. If there's going to be any other organized political party that has limited internal party conflicts, everybody's going to focus and run to that party.
You mean like PLU?
PLU. If PLU came as a political party, and should it organize itself to become, very formidable on ground, most of the youth who are part of NRM will run to PLU. The only problem is now we are seeing a little funny information circulating from the principal. But I think we're trying to understand that possibly the the public relations team, is not doing its proper position or capacity to handle some of that. But of course, that paints and taints the picture of the principle of PLU. That should not be the message that should be portrayed to the public consumption. People perceive and take information differently. You see, when someone, and when you're dealing with elites are looked out by people from those rural settings as people that have wisdom and understanding. And you see, most of us here, even as you sit here, when you go back home, there are people that look at you and you influence them. You speak to them. Now, if a man who doesn't understand common, political information or basic trends of information, comes to you and sits and says, Doctor, please, you guide us as a group who are sitting here, you guide us. What do you think? Do you think that we should go with PLU, since we're seeing NRM here is falling out? We don't know an agenda.
PLU is emerging from NRM.
PLU is emerging from NRM. Do you think we should go with PLU? Now, if doctor has his own, mindset in his projected, and he sees that possibly the top shots within PLU are also aiding in conflict, in breeding conflict. Of course, doctor is going to advise those people and say, you see, PLU would have been a very good party. But the problem is that they're also behaving like the NRM where we're trying to run away from. But there is an ant here which is doing its work on ground. You have not heard any killing from them. They are very quiet, but they are underground, grassroots mobilization. They, as I'm speaking to you, and this is, I'm giving you real information.
Sure.
What I have got.
Ant is busy.
As everybody is making noise, ant is digging, and they're busy recruiting from the village.
Why our friend Alice Alasso no longer has time to be with us?
Yes, doesn't have time to be with us here. And I think I interacted with that once or twice. They are digging people from ground. Mugisha Mutu is moving into those. And by the way, when he's recruiting, he also gives them what? Information. So for him, he's behaving like a termite. When termites are digging an anthill, you will not know that there's an ant under here. There are termites digging. You only see something.
You're speaking admiration of the
No, I'm only admiring.
May cross
I'm only admiring his the way he reasons and the way he does.
By the way, where's your former boss?
He's also in his own world. I believe he has his own agenda as a person. But I have taken time. I've taken quite a very long time without interacting to him. I don't know how he's doing right now. But like I'm speaking.
So 2026 is very closer. Where are you going, Mr.
No,
you need to make up your
don't
mind.
divert me from this. I'm trying to give you information. You see, now, like I was telling you, party politics, the length or the durability of party politics is determined by the organization on the top level. What is the main principles agenda? Is it to stay more longer? And the more you stay longer, is the more people fed up with you. Human beings get fed up with systems. And if there's anything new, they always want to explore new, fresh ideas. All of us have grown up. Me, ever since I was young, we have been together. Actually, all of us here have grown up with this old man. And we have never seen anything like a transition of, But you admire countries like Tanzania, you admire countries like Kenya, even Sudan, South Sudan.
I thought that doesn't bother you.
No, but it bothers me in one way or another. But I'm a human being. I have blood.
You want to send another?
I'm not robotic. So even Congo here, Sekedi, even if he went for his second term, but when Sekedi was getting power, when he was being handed power by Kabila, it was that proper admiration that new ideas are going to come. And leaders come with new ideas. Don't be static. But don't take this in back.
Let's go, doctor, and see for him.
The only thing that I'm trying to say, as I conclude, NRM's legacy and durability is going to be determined by the next 5 to 10 years from now. I am not a prophet of doom, I'm not a prophet to project and say this is going to happen, but it is going to be determined by the next 10 years, its existence. Because I'm telling
Why do you think so?
Most of the people who served in NRM, those elites and the first shots were all part of UPC. And when they crossed and formed NRM, UPC collapsed. And today you're seeing UPC.
Doctor, you are saying that without Museveni in the picture, there's no NRM. That's what you're saying.
You will see a political and leadership crisis should the president step down right now or anything happen to Museveni. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Indirectly.
A national crisis?
There will be a national leadership crisis in Uganda.
Not a national security crisis.
Not a national security crisis. To be leadership crisis. And of course, a leadership crisis brings a security one.
And that's why we are concerned when discussing the things.
And I end there.
As we discuss, what we've been discussing, I wanted you to bring in the PLU, which is another, part that is about to emerge from the NRM. Because according to its leaders, they're saying they're, contemplating registering it as a political party. And 2026 is still, away. You never know. NUP was just formed, months to the election. So if this happened, where would this leave the NRM, and how would things be in the country?
Of course, it's it's a two-sided sword, because the PLU, when I was hearing the General Secretary speaking, he said, this one is not a party, but it is a coalition that is, working with the NRM, because if you are in PLU, you can still be in the NRM. So for me, the NRM should be worried that there is a group which is the majority that is trying to split from the main party. So
whose patron is very powerful.
As Otim has said,
because this PLU, when you talk about it, you look at the patron. Is the one who makes it.
Yeah, we have the patron, but you need to know that every leader has strategists behind. It's not that the patron is the whole brain behind it. They are strategists, the architects to this PLU. You don't be surprised that what you're thinking is going to break out from the NRM is a rebranding of the NRM. Same people that you've been having
rebranding
in the NRM.
Yet we already know how some senior members of the NRM feel about it.
You see,
we just told
that's
the
strategy I'm talking about. You're looking at the PLU as a party, it's going to split and come from the NRM. But people who know strategic positioning, they know where they want the NRM. They rebrand. You'll not know that they've rebranded, but the same philosophy of the NRM will be carried on by the PLU. So there is most likely nothing going to be different apart from changing the leadership.
Doctor, what you're saying, are you in the know of the current relationship between the PLU and the NRM? Let me bring you up to speed. The patron of the PLU has always hit on the NRM, describing its members as, he first described the party as just being reactionary. He compared it to some other organization I've forgotten. Now he's swinging at some of its leaders as being thieves. So you can see that the relationship is not all that good.
No, you see, you are just seeing the symptom. When you look at the PLU, you need to think about what is President Museveni thinking about it.
PLU?
What do you think he's thinking about it in your own wisdom? You think it is just coming from nowhere?
Well, you saw how
the president,
he made its leader very good.
President, we are lucky as Ugandans that we have someone who can even think 20 years ahead of Uganda. You may not believe it, but you need to worry. When you look at the people who are in the PLU, these are NRM members. They are not from the opposition. So, for me, if they were to come up and they form their own party, it would be a rebrand of the party, the NRM. That is, for me, my opinion. And
where would that leave the NRM?
Of course, we have rebranded, so the NRM will die, and then you have the PLU. But same party, I've told you.
I think that will happen when Museveni is no longer in the picture.
It can even happen when it's there.
When it's there.
Why not?
And where does that leave him?
Because
where does that leave him? Because the PLU we talk about has its founder. Are you saying that now we are going to have Museveni still come and suppress the leader?
When the president was speaking to us in the budget speech, he made some comments. And when you look in detail, he said, when we came, we had patriotism, we had Pan-Africanism,
nationalism and socio-economic transformation.
Then he said, we have been now able to make Ugandans love their country. We've taught them how to, grow food and get some money. Now, it is upon you, the youth. You check his speech. He said it is upon you, the youth, to push on this philosophy to where we actually need it. For me, that is a very good gesture.
To him was he talking, you think?
To the country. The youth. He said, it is now time for the youth to take over. If someone really, you look at it, the PLU you're talking about, these are the youth who are coming from the NRM. So they're going to carry on the philosophy. We shall see the NRM rebranded with the youth, and then the other opposition will still remain. What we may not tell is who is going to be where in the NRM or the PLU. But one thing we can be sure of is that it is going to be a rebranding of the NRM.
Okay. Mr. Tim, we're about to get out of here, but I wanted you to share your thoughts. You see, this very week, I personally was disappointed by the CDF in his tweet. Because some time back, during his 48th birthday party in State House, his father told us these words, which I believe that they pulled a lot of support and sympathizers to his side. When President Museveni referred to the son, and he was like, I, Museveni, may tolerate the corrupt, but Muhoozi won't. You remember that statement? And everybody thought that, oh, if there's any problem that this country has been grappling with is corruption. We don't like corruption. So whoever hated corruption started thinking about Muhoozi as maybe a very good leader who's suitable to place his dad. Now, the other day, he disappoints us in his tweet, where he refers to Mr. Mawanda as a political prisoner, as someone who's being witch-hunted because he's his friend. We are talking about a man who was found with huge sums of money in his house. Now, he also goes on to refer to the brother-in-law, of course, that is a bigger thief. And we were like, okay, if you come out to defend Mawanda, who's a non-corrupt, officer, then how is this likely to impact on him?
You see, it's a very negative approach. When you look at it in a form that this possibly also has a hand in family conflict, so rather two brothers, one is by law and then the other is biological, heating up on something. And it is not something that has been that started today, but it has been there. They have been having that, running in there and so on. But issues of corruption should not be entertained, and anyone that is corrupt, and possibly those that were involved in that scandal of cooperatives, where people that are looking at human development, these cooperatives should be able to help people to grow. So if you are involved, and me, I know how Parliament has always behaved when it comes to these, shares. When you are appropriating budgets, there are always people that in between that are self-claimed cut dealers. A cut dealer is one that if you want this to happen, I can use a quick method, and they can even increase your budget if you are not ready. Because the budget framework paper always has those things. So there are those ones. And you remember, I think Honorable, this one from Busoga, the one who was given bail, and then Mr. Kamba, Honorable Kamba, and then the other one also from
Sise, from Luengo.
Sise, then there was also the other one, Mutembule. So you see, that group already demonstrated what they do. And now for him being a chief from Honorable
What is it they demonstrated again?
They demonstrated the cut dealing, cut dealing cycle
for cuts when they're passing by.
So yes, then also when you're to look at Honorable Mawanda, we cannot say he's a saint. He's a sinner, because if he was gotten with a lump sum or huge sums of money, he did not start somewhere. Then of course he has to pay for that, and that is part of leadership. Leadership is you have to take collective responsibility. What I wanted from the principle of Noob possibly was say that for the sake of corruption, he doesn't PLU. He doesn't entertain corruption. And what Honorable his friend did is totally uncalled for. But then he should have also called the president and said that the president should also stop taking pictures with the thieves, just like they were stated. Now, that statement would have carried meanings in different ways. Now, when people are cutting out information and consuming, for you as passing, say, but he demonized, he criticized his friend for the corruption. But also emphasized on the president to stop dealing with the corrupt or with the big thieves. That would have what? would avoid. Because one way or another, anything to do with corruption is never to be entertained. Because it's what is killing the economy of the country.
Okay.
Lots of money, 10 trillion is lost annually. You don't expect that to go.
Just to add on,
yes.
When you look at what the principal of PLU has put flight, he's not saying Mawanda is not corrupt. If you have been following his posts,
Doctor,
let me finish.
I saw sharing that tweet with him.
Let me finish.
In a break.
Before we got to this last post, where he mentioned Mawanda as his friend, he didn't mention that Mawanda is not corrupt. Previously, he had mentioned
but he went
that,
to,
you know, he said there are many, it's not only Mawanda, but there are more people who are involved in corruption. Why are you holding only?
The man describes him as a political. Let me just read for you. Muse, you arrested my friend Michael Mawanda.
Yes.
And you're comfortable taking pictures with the biggest thief in Uganda. You cut out something. It's not there. Where you refer to Mawanda as a political prisoner.
Yes, you see what he's
and
saying.
That this man is just being instructed.
There's a
Why
point.
You cut that out?
There's a point that needs to be understood. Not this only post. You know, that's the challenge with social media. Social media will hold on to one point.
Yeah, the full post. I don't know why your team has him.
I've had the chance. I've had the chance to be following whatever he posts. I don't save, but at least I usually follow the conversation. And by the time he mentioned this was mentioned like 2 days ago.
Yes.
But previously he had said
they have in mind here.
There are many people who are involved in this corruption issue. So why is it that Mawanda is the only person that is being held? So he's questioning, if you're fighting corruption in Uganda, Mawanda, there is a racket which needs to be disbanded. Why not disband it all?
You should fight corruption on a large scale.
In that position, he's saying, fight it completely. But I don't think, of course, he has a right to his opinion. He can give his opinion. But the way it appears, how he has been bringing it up, he said it.
And they refer to him as just a political prisoner who's being enchanted.
Yes, you can be a political prison, but that doesn't make you innocent.
But how is
if we are supposed to be arrested 10 people, and you arrest me one, am I not a prisoner? Why not arrest all the others?
The political prisoner that, no, according to him, I see you're trying to twist his message to defend him. But he was very clear. He was like, Mawanda has not committed anything wrong. The only crime he has committed is because he's my friend. That's what he says. In other words, he's trying to vindicate him as a corrupt what?
I've not seen that tweet. But even when
it's what I'm looking for. I wish I get it and I share it with you.
You may not get it because
well, Tim had a short one. I don't know.
But you know, when you look at the way things have been happening, social media, you have to be very careful with it. There is a lot of information that comes in, but people usually pick that last point. It's like when someone is preaching, you need to follow the whole conversation.
But you only pick few things.
But you only pick one.
No.
Do we appreciate that when he said on the road, we are tired of this? Do we appreciate that? That now we no longer see silence here and there. People are not being knocked on the roadside. Do we appreciate that?
And by the way, let me tell you, you see, with the principal, he has equally some good powers. Or even the CIC, he can make decisions without even consulting the head of state, who is the CIC. The powers were relinquished. But all that you can see, anyone that can analyze politics and then combine and put the dots together, you only see that fine. This was meant to be, that at this point I am doing this, but what is in my mind is equally to make sure that this is implemented.
The way both of you speak about him, it's as if you're so convinced that is the best alternative.
No, not the best alternative, we can say, as per se. But it's not the best alternative. But what we have right now, since the opposition has not proved its capacity, and instead what they are doing is to fight themselves, box themselves. The NOP is fighting Mpuga is boxing Senyoni, then you are seeing FDC.
But I thought that makes you happy, team. Don't tell me that you
But
feel
what?
sympathy for those people.
No.
You're just happy that they are fighting.
No, but why should I be happy that people are fighting? These are all Ugandans. We're all natives.
It is working
Should
for
they be
you.
happy?
The party is in power. This works.
No,
for
but
you.
they should not fight themselves.
It's
They need
not
to
good
fight
for
for the
Uganda.
right cause. What is the cause? Cause is that you want leadership. And what are you offering when you get the leadership? This and this and this and this is what you have learned. We have read the manifesto of NUP. We have equally read the manifesto of FDC. We have read the manifesto of ANT. So they all have what they offer. But why should you
get
fight
out of
one
here,
another?
Mr. Tim? Make your parting shot.
No, I think
Yes,
thank you very much to the viewers for always giving us the listening ears, and possibly also what we are contributing is impacting positively into you in form of human development index. And then to BTM family, we cannot thank you enough. We have come from a long way, passed through COVID with our political drives, and we're here, and I believe that we're still going. The agenda that we had as we began this is that the dialogue should be one of the most thought, after shows, and should be one of the most viewed shows in Uganda. So I think that should...
You're doing well when it comes to...
we should continue implementing that and teaching the people the right.
Thank you, Otim. Yes. Doctor, your parting shot.
Thank you, Delisa, and thank you to the management of BTM, our producers. Thank you for always bringing us here to talk to Ugandans. And to the Ugandans, we are getting in a season of politics. They should be aware of propaganda. They should be knowing where the politics are going. There's a lot of propaganda from the opposition, from the government, from other parties.
Even individuals.
Let them look for the truth in whatever comes up.
Thank you, Dr. Benson Tukundane. Thank you so much, Mr. Otim Levy Akonapesa. Thank you so much, our dear viewers. We've come to the end of this edition of The Dialogue. My name is Idrissa Mwonge. May the good Lord continue blessing you. Until we meet again, from the team, we wish you a blessed day. Goodbye for now. See you then.
This is BTM. We transform.
Discover delicacy at Cafe Atu, your all-in-one destination. Whether it's the perfect cup of coffee or a satisfying meal, we got you covered. Indulge your cravings with our mouth-watering pilau, savory katogo, crispy chips, and tender chicken. Explore our world of cocktails and fresh juices for a truly special treat. Planning an event? Choose Cafe Atu for top-notch outside catering services. Benefit from ample parking, stay connected with Wi-Fi, and catch your favorite matches on DSTV. Cafe Atu offers food deliveries in and around Kampala. Hosting a conference, our center accommodates up to 1,000 people. Need a boardroom for a party or corporate meeting? We've got just the spot for you. We offer a free venue for birthdays and baby showers, providing complimentary photography. For those aspiring to become professional baristas, our barista school awaits you. Visit us at Albany Center, Level 2 on Ginger Road. Cafe Atu, where every occasion becomes a memorable experience.
Coming soon on BTM.
Hi everyone, welcome to Kids World, where every Sunday is packed with adventure and learning.
That's right, we have so much in store for you, from book reading.
Good morning, Bella. And remember, no running.